Who left the red rose on the empty bed? True hospital mystery. Disclaimer: this story is inspired by true hospital accounts but includes fictional elements for dramatic purposes. Viewer discretion is advised. If you're new here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more real hospital mysteries and emotional stories that will leave you breathless. Every night at 3:17 a.m., the red rose appeared on the empty hospital bed in room 217. No one saw who left it, no cameras caught it, and the patient who once lay there had died over a year ago. Nurses tried staying awake. Security guards monitored the hall, but still, the rose always appeared. Until one night, someone decided to wait, and what they saw changed the hospital forever. The legend begins. St. Ethel's Memorial Hospital was over a century old. Nestled at the edge of a sleepy Midwestern town, its hallways whispered stories that never made it into medical records. Room 217 was no longer in use not since Marianne Blake, a 28-year-old schoolteacher, passed away there after a tragic accident. She had slipped into a coma following a hit-and-run on her way to work and never woke up. Her fiancé, David Morgan, visited every day for 6 months, reading her poetry and always bringing a single red rose. The day she died, he placed one last rose on her chest, kissed her forehead, and left quietly. That was the last anyone ever saw of him. A month later, the first rose appeared. The cleaning staff found it one morning, perfectly placed on the pillow of the now vacant bed. At first, they assumed it was left behind by a nurse or a patient. But it kept happening, always at 3:17 a.m., the exact time Marianne had died. The night shift whispers. Nurses on the night shift began to whisper about the ghost of room 217. Some believed David had died too, and his spirit returned nightly. Others thought Marianne herself was leaving the roses. A few staff members tried staying up to catch whoever it was. Cameras were placed in the hallway, but the footage always glitched between 3:15 and 3:20 a.m. Motion sensors picked up nothing. No one entered, yet the rose would be there. Even more chilling, some claimed to hear faint piano music in the hallway before the rose appeared. Marianne loved Debussy, and David often played recordings during his visits. One nurse, Angela, tried entering room 217 just before 3:17. The lights flickered, her watch stopped ticking, and when she opened the door, there was nothing until she blinked. Then suddenly, there it was, the rose, fresh, dewy, and blood red on the stark white pillow. Angela transferred departments the next week. The new resident doctor entered, Dr. Julian Reyes, a young, skeptical resident with a fascination for unsolved mysteries. He had heard the rumors but dismissed them as overactive imaginations fueled by grief and stress. But after his own patient coded at 3:15 a.m. and a rose appeared in room 217 just minutes later, he decided to investigate. Julian was methodical. He interviewed staff, cross-referenced schedules, even examined the roses themselves. Every rose was real, not from the hospital garden. No store nearby sold that particular hybrid. Then he found something strange in the archives, a faded visitor log showing someone signing in every few days under the initials DM. But the security logs never showed this person arriving. He dug deeper. The hidden journal. While going through Marianne's old belongings stored in hospital archives, Julian found a small notebook, her personal journal. The last page was a note scribbled in what looked like David's handwriting: "If love can't bring her back, let remembrance keep her alive. I will return until the world forgets her name." Julian began staying late. One night, around 3:10 a.m., he hid inside room 217, heart racing, armed with only a flashlight and his phone. He sat in silence, watching the door. At exactly 3:17 a.m., the air grew cold. The hallway light dimmed, and from the shadows, a figure stepped into the room. It was a man, tall, pale, wearing a dark coat, holding a single red rose. His face was worn, hollow-eyed. Julian tried to speak, but his throat tightened. The man walked to the bed, placed the rose gently, whispered, "I'm still here, my love," and turned to leave. Julian finally forced out a whisper, "David." The man paused. Then, without turning, he said, "She waited, now it's my turn." And then, he vanished, right before Julian's eyes. The final visit. The next day, no rose appeared, nor the next. The mystery had stopped. Julian requested access to police records and discovered that David Morgan had died exactly 1 year after Marianne. He had disappeared into the woods behind the hospital, and his body was found by hikers months later, clutching a dried red rose. The last night Julian saw him had been David's death anniversary. Julian never told the full story to anyone at the hospital. But he placed a frame with Marianne and David's picture on the windowsill of room 217, along with a plaque that read, "Love never leaves, it just finds another way to stay." Since then, no more roses have appeared. But every Valentine's Day, some nurses say they still hear soft piano music coming from room 217. And no matter how often they paint the walls, there's always a faint scent of roses in the air. Was David's spirit truly visiting her? Or was it something deeper, something about love that defies death? Let us know what you believe in the comments. Do you think love can linger beyond the grave? What would you do if you were Dr. Julian? Tell us below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another hospital mystery. Until next time, stay curious, and keep your heart open.